actions, or we can keep it moving. And since my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, I'm gonna keep it moving. So to he who has ears, let him hear. I'm gonna tell you the end game. What is the end game? What is all of this about? I'm gonna tell you what.
And for them who have eyes, let them see clearly. Now, we're going to go into this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and make sure that you share this video. Let's go.
The distractions are all about so that you are not fooled. Many creators have pointed out that we are in the midst of the biggest wealth transfer in history.
Yep.
Okay. So it's all about inheritance. And when you're closing the old books and you're opening the new books, what the challenge is to retain as much of the wealth as possible and to have the people who had the poverty as an inheritance in the old book also have a poverty as an inheritance in the new book. But we want to give you a fighting chance. And that's why I've come up with some very simple definitions of things that if you only remember the definition, you will not be fooled. Now, most don't know what wealth means. Wealth, according to the book Behold the Pale Horse by William Cooper, the late great William Cooper, it is defined as resources and social energy. I think that's a pretty good definition. So wealth is not money. Wealth is not riches. These things are wonderful, but they are not wealth. Now, money is the primary
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. This is going to be the greatest wealth transfer ever from a financial perspective as well. Because y'all got to remember, they're building out this new system on the blockchain, right? Blockchain technology. And though, yes, physical wealth is needed, he's going to go over the list. I'm in total agreement with him, but I wanted to add blockchain technology is going to be one of the greatest transfer of wealth, especially when it comes time for Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and actually utility coins. Utility, let's not even say coins, right? Because I hate to downplay these things. They're literally technology. They're literally technologies and different ones too at that. Let's continue.
Trick that the truly wealthy, the elites, use to keep the poor poor. They are having you chase a medium of exchange. It's like thinking you have women because you have access to their DMs. You like, dog, I'm talking to 100 girls right now. But that's poverty because the person in those DMs does not have real women. That DM is not a woman. AI is not a woman, and money is not wealth. So let me give you a definition of wealth I want you to remember. I think it's going to be really helpful. Wealth is anything that has value when money no longer has any value.
Listen.
So if the dollar were to collapse tomorrow, no, today, what would still have value? That's wealth. So if you have a garden and you're growing apples, then the man at the gas station will say, hey, I can give you some gas for those apples. You have wealth. So if you want to get a pen and a paper, I've listed the 10 things that constitute real wealth. And I'm going to tell you why this is important after I list these 10 things. Number 1, family. Number 2, legacy. Number 3, safety and security. Number 4, information and know-how. Number 5, resources. Number 6, land. Number 7, property. Number 8, ability to manufacture. Number 9, talent. Number 10, reputation. Now, the dollar is bolstered on the full faith and confidence of the United States of America. But the rest of the world is getting tired of that. So the BRICS nations are saying, we don't want to play that game anymore. We want.
Now we're going to go over what the BRICS nation is. We're talking about Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And they're actually using cryptocurrency to actually, and blockchain technology to actually trade amongst the world, because the US dollar itself, you're going to have the power. Basically, with blockchain technology, you become the bank. So you're gonna have the power to do what they do, and that's what this fight is about right now, right? It's a lot of major distractions going on now. We understand this is real events as well, far as Elon, what's going on with Elon and Trump. They're trying to separate them and conquer, knowing that they're trying to. And the real reason I think they are after them, is because they plan on reconfiguring and or renovating or renovating the banking system, revolutionizing the banking system. So now, instead of the banks being at the center of it, it's going to be peer to peer. So you to I, me to you, him to her, B2 to B2, business to business directly. No more middleman, which is the banks. So I think that's why they're actually after them as well, that conglomerate. You also have the health crisis that's going on as well, with the fog and this new thing coming out, and CDC saying something about these new so-called viruses that's happening. That's another thing. That's why health is definitely important, because that's definitely a part of wealth. But I kind of like what this guy is saying right here, and I give credit when credit's due. You can check him out on TikTok at Channeling Ideas. I actually left him in the description as far as the source. My source tab generally have who I'm reacting to. So go check this brother out. He does a marvelous job, a wonderful job of breaking this thing down, of breaking it down. Let's continue.
Something that constitutes real wealth. Now, of course, this game began in 1933 when America moved away from the gold standard and decided that they were going to use fiat currency. But of
1971, that was under President Nixon. But let's continue.
course, this creates these bubbles, and bubbles eventually collapse. So, if and when this bubble collapses and the global marketplace doesn't care about your money, what do you have that constitutes real wealth? Now, people who don't have anything will continue to act poorly, and poverty of mind eventually creates poverty of spirit. So it doesn't matter how much money a person has. If a person has poverty of mind and a lack of wealth consciousness, I just listed what real wealth is, then that person is going to act poorly. Now, of course, we have a lot of bread and circus in America that is designed to distract us and to have us looking at something and thinking it's wealth. But if you look at the average rapper doesn't really have family that they take care of. They don't have a legacy that they're leaving. They don't have any safety or security. People are always gunning for them. They don't have any real information or know-how. So aside of those raps, they can't really tell people anything that's valuable. They don't have any real access to resources. The house that they built is on land that's owned by the government. They might have a little bit of property, yes. Some of them don't have the ability to manufacture. Stuff that they manufacture is manufactured in other countries. They may have a little bit of talent, and they may have a decent reputation until their reputation is destroyed by the people who own them. So if you're wondering why the hood remains the hood and the ghetto remains the ghetto, and why poverty is the inheritance of each and every generation, it is because we don't understand what wealth is. Now, countries that have moved to a communal wealth standard, those are some of the best places in the world to live right now. And places where black and brown people have historically lived, we have been tricked into accepting some kind of debt instrument
Agreed.
as wealth, and they take the real wealth, which is the resources.
I definitely agree with that, because you got, especially like land in Africa and all of that. What do? They colonize it. They buy everyone out. At least they buy the top out, and then the top do the rest of the job. Clear the people out, sell the people. Don't do the things that's in the best interest of the people, while they're scraping the grounds for minerals, oil. They're digging, they're drilling, uranium, anything along that nature. So I definitely agree with them. They use debt, which is material. Well, debt is considered, it's not real. It's like imaginary numbers. It isn't really, it's not real. You can turn it into reality by allowing it to use it as a tool to allow you to build. But they generally, if you're just stuck on money and money only, that generally isn't life. That isn't life. What about family? What about legacy? What about building something? What about a community? What about farming? What about having something to trade? You know, what about actually living, right? Resources. What about water? What about fire, food? Like these are things that's to me that's considered wealthy as well. And these some things money can't buy. Now money can maintain these things. Money can extract these things, right? But most of the time it can just maintain it. That's about it. It isn't everything. Because once again, you can't take the money with you. And I've noticed that, let's just say, it don't matter how great you are, 2 or 3 decades, no one gonna remember your name. 50 years, 60 years go down the line, no one will remember you. That's how time goes. People just bite the dust. So I definitely agree with him. You have to have something more than that. You use money. I wouldn't say money is bad. It all depends on who hands that it's in and what you plan on doing with it. And then, yes, it is. It can be the building block and or the starter kit for you actually acquiring wealth. Because think about a family. If you have a family, wouldn't you want to maintain it? In this realm, unfortunately, we're in the materialistic realm. Um, you have to maintain the framework of a family. You have to maintain the framework of farming, trade, security. So it goes hand in hand, but it isn't everything. So I'm in total agreement with him. It isn't everything, and he named some things like land and all these things that makes sense. A lot of people just own the property; they don't own the land. So your mortgage, you're still renting at the end of the day. Do you really own? Yeah, you might own the house, but if you don't own the land and you have to pay the property taxes on the land, then what happens when you go on to another realm? Then what? What if your kids don't want to upkeep it? Then what? So I'm in total agreement with him. And like I say, this is the major time for distractions. Distraction is rampanting. The wealth system is changing as well. The monetary system is changing as well. So you want to be a part of the change while acquiring real wealth at the same time. Let's continue.
Which is the land, which is the people resources, and they use the real wealth. So we got to wake the hell up. But part of waking up is to stop worshiping the image of anybody else. And so that's the first trick that they play, is to have you worship an image of something other than yourself. And once that's done, they can backdoor you with just about anything and you accept it. So go back, look at that list, write that list down, and see how your wealth aligns with that particular list. And that's how you can tell just how wealthy you are. Now, you can have money, and money makes things a little bit easier for the moment, and you can have riches, and that adds to the spice of life for the moment. But neither of those things is true wealth. A truly wealthy person would be disgusted if you even mentioned money when you were talking about wealth. So think about that.
That was well said. Let me know what you guys think down below. Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Hit that bell notification. And peace, blessings, and love. And remember, positivity over negativity.